The dining room smells like warm cinnamon rolls and cheap roses. Someone's phone plays soft jazz from a speaker in the corner, but the music can't cover the sharp sound of my stepmom's laugh. Too loud, too proud, like she's already won something. She sits at the head of the table in a pale pink blouse, hands folded like a queen waiting for tribute. Her manicure is fresh. Her ring catches the light every time she lifts her glass. My dad is beside her, smiling the tired kind of smile that says, "Please, just let today be peaceful." Every chair is filled. Aunties, cousins, church friends, her people, me. My throat is tight. My palms are damp around the little gift bag in my lap. It's heavier than it looks. Not because of what's inside, but because of what it means. My stepmom, Denise, turns toward me with that sweet face she saves for crowds. "Well," she sings, dragging the word out like a ribbon. "Are you going to give it to me?" All eyes swing to me. Swallow. I can hear my own heartbeat. It's loud in my ears like footsteps down a hallway. I stand, chair legs scraping. My knee bumps the table. A fork clinks against a plate. For a second, it feels like the entire room leans forward at once. Denise tilts her head, smile sharp. "Look at you," she says, loud enough for everyone. "Finally learning gratitude." Gratitude. The word hits me like a slap. Because she has no idea what's in this bag. Or maybe she does, and she thinks I'm bringing her what she wanted. Like always, I walk around the table. My legs feel like they belong to someone else. I stop in front of her and hold out the bag. She accepts it with both hands, almost reverent, like a camera is flashing even though it's not. Then she looks up at the crowd, enjoying the moment. "Everyone," she says. "My girl got me something." My girl. My dad's eyes flick to me. There's a question there. Quiet warning too. Please don't start anything. Denise slides tissue paper aside, slow on purpose. She wants them to watch. She wants the attention. I watch her fingers. I watch her smile. I watch her pull out a small box wrapped in silver paper. Her brows lift. "Oh," she says. "Fancy." She shakes it gently beside her ear, teasing. "Is it jewelry?" she asks, laughing. The room chuckles with her. He peels the tape, rips the paper, lifts the lid. And for the first time all morning, her face changes. It's small. Just a tiny crack. Like a hairline fracture running through glass. Inside the box is a simple envelope. No glitter. No ribbon. Just plain white. Her smile freezes. She opens the envelope. Her eyes move across the first page. And the color drains so fast it's like someone pulled a plug. Her mouth parts. She reads the next page. Her hand starts to shake. Fork drops somewhere behind me. Someone clears their throat. The room goes quiet in that strange way it does when people don't understand what's happening, but they can feel something heavy falling. Denise looks up at me, and her voice is barely a whisper now. "What is this?" I lean closer so only she can hear me. "It's your Mother's Day gift," I say softly. "The one you earned." Her eyes dart to my dad, then back to me. Fear flashes across her face, sharp and ugly. She thought she crossed the line with my money and got away with it. She thought I'd stay quiet. She thought wrong. And the best part, she has no idea what the last page says. Because the last page is the one that will destroy her whole little perfect life. She thought she had one, but she had no idea that the person she was humiliating for months had been collecting evidence like matches. And today was the day I finally lit the fire. If you stay with me until the end, you'll see exactly how Denise tried to steal my future, how she used my father's love like a weapon, and how I gave her a gift so public, so clean, and so devastating, that even she couldn't twist it into being my fault. Because karma doesn't always come as a storm. Sometimes it comes in a white envelope at a Mother's Day brunch. It started the day my mother died. Not in a dramatic movie way. No long goodbye. No last speech. Just a phone call, a hospital room that smelled like sanitizer, and the sound of machines that stopped beeping too soon. I was 16. Old enough to understand death. Too young to be ready for it. After the funeral, our house felt like someone turned the volume down on life. The air was still. The walls looked the same, but everything felt wrong. Like my mom had been the color in that place, and now the color was gone. My dad did his best. He cooked, cleaned, tried to remember which laundry detergent I liked. He made jokes that landed like rocks. He hugged me in the hallway sometimes, too tight, like he was afraid I'd disappear too. But grief doesn't sit still. Moves around the house. Gets into the corners. Hides in your clothes, your hair, your throat. And in the middle of all that grief, Denise showed up. At first she was just a friend from work. She brought casseroles. She helped my dad sort bills. She smiled at me like she was careful not to scare a wild animal. "She's been really supportive," my dad said one night, rubbing his eyes. "I don't know what I'd do without her." I wanted to scream, "You do what you did when Mom was alive. Be a family." But I didn't. 'Cause my dad looked like he was drowning. And when someone is drowning, you don't slap them. You pull them up. So I kept my mouth shut. Denise kept coming. She started staying later. Laughing louder. Putting her mug in the cabinet like she lived there. One day I came home from school and saw her folding my mom's old sweaters. My mom's. Like they were just fabric, like they didn't carry a whole person inside them. I froze in the doorway. Denise looked up and smiled. "Oh honey," she said, "these are just taking up space. Your dad said it might help to clear things out." "My dad said that?" asked, my voice thin. A shrug. "He trusts me." That was the first time I felt it. That small, cold thing in my gut. Not grief. Not sadness. Something else. A warning. Denise and my dad got married 2 years later. I was 18. The wedding was small. I wore a dress my mom had bought me for senior prom that I never went to, because everything fell apart that year. Denise wore a sleek white gown that hugged her like she owned the world. At the reception she held my hand for a photo and whispered, "We're going to be a real family now. You'll see. I'll be good to you." Her nails dug into my skin like tiny claws. I smiled for the camera anyway. Because that's what you do when adults are watching. You smile. You behave. You pretend. Denise moved into our house like a new manager taking over an old store. She reorganized the kitchen, changed the curtains, switched the living room furniture around, and acted like my mom's favorite chair had never existed. She didn't call me daughter. Not really. She called me sweetheart when company was there. And girl when it was just us. Girl, don't leave your shoes there. Girl, you eat like you've never seen food. Girl, you're lucky your father has patience. My dad never heard it the way I did. Or maybe he did, and he just didn't want to admit he'd brought someone into our home who didn't love me. Either way, Denise learned something important very quickly. My dad was gentle. My dad avoided conflict. And my dad felt guilty. Guilty for being alive. Guilty for moving forward. Guilty for laughing without my mom. Denise didn't comfort his guilt. She used it. By the time I graduated college, Denise had completely placed herself between my dad and everything else in his life. His friends became bad influences. His sister became toxic. His hobbies became immature. And me, I became ungrateful. She said it with that sad little face she used when she wanted sympathy. "She doesn't respect me, Robert," she would tell him. "I try so hard. I'm trying to be her mother." And my dad, scared and tired, would say things like, "Maya, can you just try? For me." So I tried. I said please and thank you. I did chores. I stayed out of her way. I swallowed my anger like it was medicine. And for a while that worked. Because Denise wasn't after my love. She was after control. And control needs time. Then 2 things happened. First, my dad got sick. Not a cold. Not a quick surgery. Sick. Heart problems. Medications. Doctor visits. That quiet fear that starts living in your house when you realize your parent is not a superhero. He's a human. And humans break. Second, I got my first real job. A decent one. Not rich but steady. The kind where you can breathe and plan and dream without feeling like the floor might fall out under you. I moved back home for a few months to help my dad during his recovery. That's what I told myself. Denise insisted it was a good idea. "Oh yes," she said, hugging me too tight. "Family takes care of family." Her voice was sweet. Her eyes were calculating. I should have listened to my gut. Because my dad being sick meant Denise became the gatekeeper. She drove him to appointments. She talked to the nurses. She handled his pills. And slowly, she started handling everything else too. Bills, bank accounts, phone calls. First I was grateful. I was exhausted. I was scared. I wanted someone else to take some weight. Denise offered her hands, and I didn't realize her hands were also reaching for my throat. One night, I came home late from work and found Denise in the kitchen with my laptop open. My laptop. She didn't even flinch when I walked in. Just looked up and smiled like she had every right. "Oh good," she said. "I was just making sure your father's insurance paperwork was updated. It's all so confusing." I stepped closer. "Why are you on my laptop?" She waved a hand like I was being dramatic. "Because yours is faster than mine. And you keep it logged into everything." A chill slid down my spine. "Logged into what?" Denise tapped the screen. "Your email. Your bank app. Your little money stuff." My stomach dropped. "My little money stuff," I repeated. She sighed like I was a child. "Maya, don't be like this. I'm trying to help. Besides, you live under this roof. We're a unit now." Unit. Like my money was just another shared household object. Like a blender. Like a vacuum. I reached forward and closed the laptop. "Don't do that again." Denise's smile thinned. "Excuse me. I said don't do that again," I repeated slower. For a second her mask slipped. Her eyes sharpened. Then she forced a laugh. Okay. So sensitive. Must be that corporate job stressing you out." She walked past me, shoulder brushing mine like a warning. I stood there, heart pounding, telling myself it was a one-time thing. That she was just being nosy. That she wouldn't. A week later my credit card declined at the grocery store. It wasn't even a big purchase. Just eggs, rice, chicken, shampoo. Basic things. The cashier looked at me like I'd tried to steal. "Do you have another card?" she asked. My face burned. I pulled out my debit card and paid, hands shaking. In the parking lot I opened my banking app. And my breath caught. There was a charge I didn't recognize. Big one. Luxe Day Spa and Salon. $842.16. My mouth went dry. I scrolled. Another charge. Bloom Boutique. $389.40. Another. Denise's Garden Center. $267.88. Denise's. Her name was literally in the merchant title. I stared at my screen like it might change if I looked hard enough. Then I heard the front door when I got home, and the smell hit me first. Strong perfume, the kind that announces itself before the person does. Denise walked in carrying shopping bags. Big shopping bags. She saw me in the hallway and smiled. "Oh," she chirped. "You're home early." My voice came out tight. "Did you use my credit card?" Denise blinked slowly, like she didn't understand the question. Then she laughed. "Oh, that, I repeated, holding up my phone like evidence. She sighed, set the bags down with a dramatic little huff, and crossed her arms. "Maya, you know your father's medical bills are piling up. I've been trying to make the house feel nice. He needs comfort. He needs peace. What does a spa have to do with medical bills?" Yes. Her eyes narrowed. "Don't take that tone with me. It's my money," I said louder than I meant to. Denise's face hardened. "And it's my stress. You have no idea what it's like taking care of a sick man. You're buying perfume and dresses with my card," I snapped. "That's not caregiving." Denise took a step closer. "Listen to me," she said, voice low. "This family is surviving because I'm holding it together. If you have to contribute, then you contribute. Don't be selfish. Contribute." She said it like my card was her paycheck. I felt something hot behind my eyes. "You didn't ask." Denise's smile came back, cold and smooth. "I didn't think I had to." You're living here, eating food, using electricity. Your father doesn't charge you rent. My father, I said, stressing the words, doesn't mean you get to steal. That word, steal, changed the air. Denise's eyes flashed. How dare you? How dare I? I laughed once, bitter. How dare you take my card info and spend almost $1,500 like it's nothing? Denise leaned in, close enough that I could see the tiny crease in her foundation. If you make this a problem, she whispered, you will make your father worse. His heart can't handle stress. Do you want to be responsible if something happens to him? My blood turned cold. There it was. The weapon. My dad's health. Her favorite leash. She stepped back, picked up her bags, and walked away like she'd just won an argument without raising her voice. I stood there, shaking. That night I went to my dad's room. He was propped up on pillows, TV playing quietly. He looked smaller than he used to. His skin was pale. His eyes were tired. I sat on the edge of his bed. Dad, I said softly. Did you know Denise used my credit card? He frowned. What? I showed him the charges. His eyes widened. Denise, he called weakly. She appeared instantly, like she'd been waiting outside the door. What is it, honey? She asked, voice full of concern. My dad pointed at my phone. Did you use Maya's card? Denise's face fell into that sad, wounded expression like she could put it on in seconds. Robert, she said. I was going to tell you. I just didn't want to stress you. Everything is so expensive right now. I thought Maya would understand. My dad looked at me, confused. Maya, why didn't you just what? Said. Just let her take it. Denise gasped like I'd slapped her. Take it. I'm not taking anything. I'm trying to keep this house running. I'm trying to keep you comfortable. And Maya. She pressed a hand to her chest. Maya has never liked me. She's looking for a reason to attack. My dad's brow furrowed. He looked overwhelmed. Denise, he said, you can't do that. Denise nodded quickly. Of course not. Sorry. I'll pay it back. She turned to me, eyes shining with fake tears. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I thought we were family. Family. Again. Always that word. I wanted to scream. But my dad looked like he might cry. So I swallowed it. I said, okay. Just don't do it again. Denise smiled through her tears like a saint. And I believed, stupidly, that maybe it was over. It wasn't. After that, things became smaller and sneakier. Little charges at first. Few hundred here. 100 there. When I confronted her, she always had a reason. It was for groceries. It was for your father's vitamins. It was for household repairs. And sometimes she'd twist it and make me feel guilty. You have a job. You have freedom. Your father and I are struggling. She would stand in the kitchen like a judge and say, when your mother was alive, she would have helped. And those words were poison. Because my mom would never. My mom would have asked. My mom would have cared. My mom would have protected me. Denise used my mother's memory like a knife and expected me to thank her for the cut. Changed my card. I locked down my passwords. I added two-factor authentication. Thought I was safe. Then my savings account started shrinking. I didn't even notice at first because I was working long hours, helping my dad, paying bills. Life was loud. Days moved fast. Until one night, I sat down to review my budget, because I was trying to save for my own place. I had a plan. 6 months. Enough for a deposit. Enough to escape. I opened my savings account. And the number was wrong. Not slightly wrong. Thousands wrong. My fingers went numb. I scrolled. Transfer after transfer. Small ones. Medium ones. Some big. All labeled the same. Internal transfer. No pay name. No note. Just money disappearing like someone was scooping it out with a spoon. My stomach twisted. I checked my checking account. And there it was. A new authorized user. Denise's name. My throat closed. She wasn't just spending my money. She had connected herself to it. Like a parasite. I walked into the living room where Denise sat watching TV, my dad sleeping in his recliner beside her. His chest rose and fell slowly. The room smelled like menthol and lavender. Denise glanced up, annoyed. "What?" she mouthed, pointing to the TV like I was interrupting something important. Held up my phone. "Why are you on my bank account?" Denise's eyes flicked quick. Then she relaxed back into the couch like she'd been waiting for this. "Oh," she whispered, leaning closer. "Not now. Your father's asleep." "I don't care," I hissed. "Why are you on my account?" Denise's lips curved. "Because someone has to manage finances. You're not responsible." "I'm not responsible." My voice shook. Denise's eyes hardened. "Maya, you're emotional. You spend on useless things. Puffy. Low. Your little plans. I'm an adult. I'm 24, I snapped. I pay my own bills. That's my money." Denise leaned in, voice soft and cruel. "And you live in this house. You think that's free. You think your father can afford to keep you here. That money is part of this family's survival. How did you even get access?" I demanded. Denise smiled like she was proud. "Your father signed some paperwork. Power of attorney. For his health stuff. And finances. He trusts me. Power of attorney." The words felt like a trap snapping shut. My dad shifted in his sleep, murmuring something. Denise lowered her voice even more. "If you wake him up and start drama," she said, "you'll stress him out. And you know what the doctor said about stress." My hands curled into fists. This was the line. This was the moment. She wasn't even hiding anymore. I looked at my dad. His face was peaceful in sleep. He had no idea what was happening in the world around him. Denise watched me watch him. Then she smiled. Like she knew I wouldn't risk hurting him. Like she knew she had me. I walked away. Not because I lost. 'Cause I realized something. Denise didn't care about being loved. Denise cared about winning. And she was only winning because I was playing fair. That night I called my best friend, Tasha. I sat in my car in the driveway because I didn't want Denise hearing me through the walls. The air outside was cold. My breath fogged the windows. Tasha answered on the second ring. "Hey, you okay?" "No," I whispered. And then I told her everything. The card charges. The savings transfers. Denise's name on my account. The power of attorney. Tasha was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "That's theft." "I know," I said, voice breaking. "But if I call her out, she'll twist it. She'll cry. She'll make my dad choose. And he's sick." "I can't." "You can," Tasha cut in firm. "Not by yelling. Not by fighting in the kitchen. You need to be smart. You need proof. You need professionals." I swallowed. "Like who?" "A lawyer," she said. "And the bank. And maybe adult protective services if she's abusing your dad's power of attorney." My stomach clenched. "That sounds huge." "It is huge," Tasha said. "Because what she's doing is huge." I stared at the dark house. Behind those windows, Denise probably slept like a baby. Because she believed I was trapped. Tasha's voice softened. "Maya, listen. Your dad being sick doesn't mean you let her destroy your life. And it doesn't mean you let her steal from him too." That last part hit me. Because if she was stealing from me, she was probably stealing from him. I whispered. "What do I do?" Tasha said. "First, don't tell her anything. Second, start documenting everything. Screenshots, statements. Third, talk to your dad. Carefully when Denise isn't around. He needs to know. And fourth," pause. "Fourth, you make a plan to protect yourself and your dad. Quietly. Before she knows you're coming." I sat there for a long time after we hung up. The street was silent. A porch light flickered 2 houses down. Somewhere far away a dog barked. My hands were steady now. Not because I wasn't scared. 'Cause I was angry. And anger, when you stop wasting it on shouting, can become something powerful. Over the next few weeks, I became a different person in that house. On the outside I played nice. I smiled at Denise. I said good morning. I asked how her day was. I let her believe I was back under her thumb. But at night in the quiet I worked. I pulled bank statements from every month. I saved them in a hidden folder. I printed copies and kept them in my trunk under the spare tire. I set up alerts for every transaction. I changed my passwords again, and then I did something I should have done earlier. I opened a new account at a different bank. A different login. A different card. I moved my paycheck there. I left just enough money in the old account for Denise not to notice right away. Then I called the bank. I didn't say, "My stepmom is stealing from me," because I knew how that sounded. Instead I said, "I noticed unauthorized transfers. I think my online banking may be compromised." The bank representative's voice turned professional. "We can investigate," she said. "Do you recognize the device logging in?" She listed a device I didn't own. Felt sick. "That's not mine," I said. "Then yes," she replied. "This may be fraud." Fraud. A word that felt like justice. I filed a report with the bank. I asked them to freeze transfers. I asked them to remove any authorized users I didn't add. They told me because Denise was added through paperwork tied to power of attorney. It might take time. Denise loved time. Because time meant more money she could siphon. So I went bigger. Found a lawyer. Not a flashy one. Not an expensive one. Just someone solid with experience in financial abuse and family issues. His name was Mr. Alvarez. He had tired eyes and a calm voice. He listened while I explained everything. He didn't interrupt. He didn't judge. He just took notes. When I finished, he leaned back and said, "Your stepmother is abusing access." I exhaled like I'd been holding my breath for months. "So I'm not crazy." He gave a small smile. "No, you're not crazy. You're being stolen from." "And my dad?" asked, voice shaking. "What about him?" Mr. Alvarez tapped his pen. "Power of attorney is supposed to protect someone, not exploit them. If she's using it to control finances for her own benefit, that's serious." I swallowed hard. "But if I report her, what happens to my dad? He'll be heartbroken. He'll feel guilty. And his health." Mr. Alvarez's voice stayed steady. "Your father's health is important, but so is his safety. If someone is exploiting him, protecting him may actually reduce stress long-term." I nodded slowly. He continued, "We can take steps. We can petition to review or revoke the power of attorney if it's being misused. We can demand repayment. We can file a formal notice. We can involve authorities if needed." Authorities. The word made my stomach flip. I wasn't trying to ruin Denise's life. Then I thought of her smile in the living room. How she said, "You're emotional. I'm an adult." How she used my dad's illness like a shield. And suddenly I realized something else. Denise wasn't afraid of ruining my life. So why was I still worried about ruining hers? I asked Mr. Alvarez, "What if she lies? What if she tells everyone I'm ungrateful? What if she turns my family against me?" He looked at me and said, "Evidence doesn't care about lies." I left his office with a folder of papers and a strange calm in my bones. I wasn't helpless anymore. I was prepared. The next part was the hardest. My dad. I needed him to understand without Denise twisting it. So I waited for a day when Denise went out. She called it running errands. But it always meant shopping. My dad sat at the kitchen table, sipping tea. His hands shook a little. His eyes looked clearer than they had in weeks. I sat across from him. "Dad," I said gently, "I need to talk to you about something serious." He frowned. "Is everything okay?" Took a breath. "No." I slid my phone toward him with the bank statements open. He adjusted his glasses and squinted. "What am I looking at?" "These transfers," I said softly. "Money moved from my savings account." "I didn't do it." He stared. "Are you sure?" "Yes," I said. "And Denise is listed as an authorized user. I didn't add her." My dad's face went blank, like his brain didn't want to process it. Denise wouldn't, he started. I know you don't want to believe it, I said, voice tight. But it's real. And it's been happening for months. He rubbed his forehead. Maybe it's for bills. Maybe she's helping. Dad, I said, leaning forward. She spent my credit card at a spa. His eyes widened. What? I told him everything. Charges. The threats. The way she used his health to silence me. My dad's mouth trembled. He looked like someone kicked the ground out from under him. Why didn't you tell me? He whispered. I tried, I said, voice breaking. But she always made it about your stress. And I didn't want to hurt you. My dad stared down at the table. His shoulders slumped. For a long moment he didn't speak. Then he said very quietly, I signed papers. My heart sank. What papers? He swallowed. Denise said we needed to make sure things were handled if something happened. She said it was responsible. She brought forms. She explained some of it. I didn't read everything. I trusted her. Tears burned my eyes. Not because I was mad at him. 'Cause I understood. He was scared. And Denise used fear like a key. My dad looked up at me, eyes wet. Did she hurt you? He asked. It wasn't just about money then. It was about betrayal. About realizing the person you let into your home might be hurting your child. I shook my head. Not physically, I said. But she's been crossing lines. And she doesn't stop when I say no. My dad's jaw tightened in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. He used to be strong. Before grief softened him. Before sickness scared him. He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. And in that moment I knew two things. My dad loved me. 2. Denise was about to lose control. But Denise wasn't stupid. She noticed small changes. She noticed my paycheck no longer hitting the joint account she monitored. She noticed I was calmer. Quieter. People like Denise don't like calm. Because calm means someone is planning. One night, she cornered me in the hallway, blocking the path to my room. Her perfume hit me like a wall. She smiled sweetly. How's work, sweetheart? Fine, I said. She tilted her head. You've been distant. Busy, I replied. Her eyes narrowed. I hope you're not doing something dramatic. I met her gaze. Why would I? Denise stepped closer. Her voice lowered. Because you've always wanted to make me the villain. I almost laughed. Instead I said, I'm going to bed. I tried to move past her. She grabbed my wrist. Her nails pressed into my skin. I said, she whispered, I hope you're not doing something dramatic. I looked down at her hand on my wrist. Then back up at her face. And I said very calmly, let go of me. Denise's smile twitched. Or what? I held her gaze. Or you'll regret it. That was the first time I said it. Not as a threat. As a promise. Denise let go. But the look she gave me was pure hatred. After that, she started acting extra sweet around my dad, like she could sense he was slipping away from her influence. She brought him soup, fluffed his pillows, called him my love in that syrupy voice. And whenever I walked into the room, she would sigh like I was the problem. One morning I heard them arguing behind their closed bedroom door. Denise's voice was sharp. Why are you asking me about finances? You never questioned me before. My dad's voice was quieter but firm. Because I should have been paying attention. Silence. Then Denise said, Is Maya putting ideas in your head? My stomach tightened. My dad replied, No. The bank statements are putting ideas in my head. I held my breath. Denise's voice turned cold. Robert, you don't need this stress. My dad said, What I don't need is lies. I walked away before they noticed me listening. My hands were shaking. Not from fear. From relief. 'Cause my dad was waking up. Denise wasn't losing because of me alone. She was losing because truth has weight. And she couldn't carry it. The next week, my dad agreed to meet Mr. Alvarez with me. Denise tried to stop it. Oh, honey, she cooed, hand on my dad's shoulder. Lawyers are expensive. Let's not make this a big thing. Maya's just emotional right now. My dad looked at her and said, Denise, you don't get to call my daughter emotional when you're the one who took her money. Denise's smile cracked. She laughed high and fake. Took. Robert, come on. We're a family. She's twisting it. My dad stood slowly, steadying himself on the table. No, he said. I twisted my trust into a rope and gave you the end of it. That's on me. But it stops today. Denise's eyes flicked to me like knives. And I knew then. She wasn't going to go down quietly. She would do what she always did. She would perform. She would play victim. She would try to turn the whole world against me. So I decided something too. If she wanted an audience, I would give her one. Mother's Day was coming. Denise loved Mother's Day. Not because she was a mother to anyone, but because it was a holiday built for praise. She had been hinting about it for weeks. Mother's Day is so special, she'd say loudly while scrolling online shopping sites. It's nice when people show appreciation. She would glance at me as she said it. My dad stayed quiet. I stayed quiet too. 'Cause I was planning. Mr. Alvarez helped us draft a formal notice. A demand for repayment. A warning about legal action. And most important, a document revoking Denise's access and challenging the power of attorney arrangement. We had evidence. Amounts. Transaction records. We also had something else. My dad's signature on new paperwork naming me as the person handling finances. Limited, supervised, legal. Denise didn't know any of this yet. She still walked around the house like she owned it. She still ordered packages and acted like the front porch was her personal delivery dock. She still told people at church how hard she worked caring for my dad. She still got sympathy. Still got praise. And every time someone said, Denise, you're such a blessing, she would smile and say, I just do what I can. But her eyes would flick toward me, and I could see it. She was daring me. She wanted me to explode so she could point and say, see? She's unstable. So I didn't explode. Smiled. I said, Happy early Mother's Day. And Denise's face lit up. Because she thought my smile meant surrender. Didn't. It meant the trap was ready. The morning of Mother's Day brunch arrived bright and warm. Birds chirped outside like life was normal. Denise wore her pink blouse and pearl earrings and made a big show of arranging flowers. She kept checking her reflection in the microwave door. My dad looked pale but determined. He wore a button-down shirt and the watch my mom gave him before she died. He held himself like he was preparing for something. 'Cause he was. We didn't host brunch often. But Denise insisted. I want the family here, she said. I want to be surrounded by love. Love. The word tasted bitter. As guests arrived, Denise floated around them like a celebrity at a charity event. Hugging. Laughing. Accepting compliments. My Aunt Marlene squeezed my hand when no one was looking. You okay, baby? She whispered. He nodded. I will be, I said. She studied my face like she sensed something. Then she nodded slowly. Good, she said. Because I've been watching Denise for a long time. That gave me strength. At the table, Denise made a speech. She stood, glass in hand, smiling like she was on stage. Being a mother, she said, is not just about giving birth. It's about sacrifice. It's about loving someone even when they don't love you back. Her eyes landed on me. The room fell into that awkward silence where people pretend not to notice. Denise kept smiling. And I just want to say, I'm grateful for my family, for my husband, for my community, and for the chance to be a mother figure to someone who needed one. My hands clenched under the table. My dad's jaw tightened. Denise sat down satisfied. Then she looked at me like, go on. Plod. Instead I stood with my gift bag. And we arrived back at the moment you started with. The warm smell of cinnamon. Soft jazz. The tight smiles. The eyes watching. Denise took the bag like it was owed to her. She opened the box. She pulled out the envelope. She read the pages. And the air changed. Now everyone could see it. The Queen was bleeding. Denise's hand shook so hard the papers fluttered. This is private, she hissed, trying to keep her voice down, but panic made it thin. Kept my voice calm. You made my money public the moment you spent it. Denise's eyes darted around the room. People were staring now. Not smiling. Not clapping. Confused. Concerned. My dad cleared his throat. Denise, he said, voice loud enough for everyone. What is that? Denise snapped her head toward him. Robert. He held out his hand. Give it to me. Denise clutched the envelope to her chest like it was a life jacket. No, she whispered. Not here. My dad's face hardened. Give. Me. The room went silent. Denise's eyes flicked to the guests, searching for support, for sympathy, for someone to rescue her. But no one moved. Slowly, reluctantly, she handed the papers to my dad. He read the first page. His face went still. Then his eyes moved down the numbers. He flipped the page. His breathing changed. Small, shaky exhale. He looked up at Denise like he was seeing her for the first time. Is this true? He asked, voice breaking. Denise's lips trembled. Robert, this is Maya being cruel. My dad held up the pages. These are bank statements. Denise's eyes filled with tears instantly, on command. I only did what I did for this family, she cried. I was under so much pressure. You were sick. Bills were everywhere. You thought you could take from my daughter, my dad said, voice rising. Denise turned to the room, performing. I'm being attacked on Mother's Day, she sobbed. After everything I've done. I watched her try to pull the old trick. Make herself the victim. Make me the villain. But something was different now. Because the evidence was in my dad's hands. And the audience was watching her panic, not my anger. My dad's sister, Aunt Marlene, stood slowly. Denise, she said, voice calm and sharp. Did you take money from Maya without asking? Denise looked at her like she'd been betrayed. Marlene. Answer the question, Marlene said. Denise opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Then she snapped, mask slipping. She lives in the house. She eats food. She uses everything. Why is it a crime for her to contribute? The room gasped. Not because they were shocked she said it. Because they heard the truth in her tone. Not family. Not love. Transaction. Control. My dad's face crumpled. You never asked, he whispered. Denise's tears stopped like someone turned off a faucet. Because asking would have started a fight, she said, cold now. And I didn't have time for your daughter's moods. My dad flinched like she hit him. I took a slow breath. Then I said, loud enough for everyone. Denise, do you want to read the last page? Her head snapped toward me. What? I nodded at the envelope. The last page. The one you haven't read out loud. Denise's eyes widened. No. My dad looked down, confused. What last page? He flipped to it. And his face changed. Not confusion. Not sadness. Pure shock. Because the last page wasn't just a demand for repayment. It was the formal notice. The one stating that Denise's access to finances had been revoked. The one stating that any further unauthorized transactions would be reported as theft. The one stating that the power of attorney arrangement was under review due to suspected abuse. And attached to it, timeline of every transfer, every charge, every dollar. Denise's breath came fast. You can't do this, she whispered. My dad looked up slowly, eyes wet. I already did, he said. Denise turned to him, voice pleading. Robert, please. Don't do this to me. I love you. My dad's voice shook. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this behind my back. Denise's face twisted. Anger, fear, desperation. She looked around again, hunting for sympathy. And that's when Aunt Marlene spoke again, softer this time. Denise, she said. You embarrassed yourself. No one did this to you. Denise's eyes flashed. Then she stood so fast her chair scraped the floor. She pointed at me. "This is her," she shouted. "She planned this. She wanted to ruin me." I didn't flinch. I didn't raise my voice. I just reached into my gift bag and pulled out one more thing. Small frame. Pretty. Silver. Simple. I held it up for everyone to see. Inside was a printed screenshot of Denise's text message to me from weeks earlier. The one where she wrote, "If you make this a problem, your father will get worse, and it will be your fault." A murmur spread through the room. Denise's face went blank. My dad stared at the frame like it was poison. He whispered, "You said that to her?" Denise's mouth opened. No sound came out. Because she couldn't cry her way out of her own words. I set the frame gently on the table in front of her. "And that," I said quietly, "is my gift to you." Denise's hands trembled. You little." My dad slammed his hand on the table, startling everyone. "Enough." He stood shaking but strong. "Denise," he said, voice rough, "you are done." Denise stared at him, stunned. "Robert, you can't." "I can," he said. "And I am." Denise's eyes went wild. "After everything I've done for you." My dad's voice cracked. "You didn't do it for me. You did it for control." Denise looked like she might scream, but she stopped herself because she remembered the room. She grabbed her purse, jerking it off the chair. She leaned close to me as she passed, voice low, venomous. "You think you won," she hissed. "You have no idea what you just started." I met her eyes, calm as ice. "Oh, I know," I whispered. "I started my life again." Denise stormed out, heels pounding, the front door slamming so hard a picture on the wall rattled. The room stayed silent for a moment. Then people started breathing again. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Someone else said, "I had no idea." My dad sank back into his chair, face in his hands. I moved toward him. "Dad." He looked up at me, tears spilling. "I'm sorry," he said again. "I'm so sorry." I sat beside him and took his hand. "I know," I said softly. "But it ends now." And it did. The days after were messy, but not the way Denise threatened. Not like chaos, more like cleaning out a wound. Painful. Necessary. Denise tried to call my dad again and again. He didn't answer. She showed up at the house once, crying on the porch, saying she had nowhere to go. My dad opened the door just enough to speak. "You should have thought about that before you stole from my child," he said. Denise's face twisted. "You're choosing her over me." My dad's eyes went hard. "I'm choosing right over wrong," he replied. "And you made it easy." She left screaming. She posted vague messages online about betrayal and ungrateful children. Some people believed her for a day. Then the truth spread. Not because I screamed it. Because evidence speaks quietly but clearly. The bank investigation moved forward. Some money was recovered. Not all, but enough to feel like justice had hands. Mr. Alvarez filed the necessary paperwork to protect my dad. The power of attorney was adjusted, supervised, and safe. And Denise learned a lesson she never wanted. You can't build a life on stolen money and expect the foundation to hold. 2 months later, my dad and I sat in the living room. The house felt different. Lighter. Like air could move again. He looked at me and said, "I forgot what peace felt like." I leaned my head on his shoulder. "Me too," I whispered. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Your mother would be proud of you." My throat tightened, because for the first time in a long time I believed it. I didn't take revenge by destroying Denise with violence or cruelty. I took revenge by telling the truth. By setting boundaries. By protecting what was mine. By refusing to be manipulated anymore. And that's the kind of karma that lasts. Because here's the lesson, the one I want you to carry with you after this story ends. People will test your limits, especially if you've been quiet for a long time. They'll call you selfish when you say no. They'll call you dramatic when you stand up for yourself. They'll use guilt, fear, and family titles like chains. But love is not a license to steal from you. And family is not an excuse to cross your boundaries. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is simply refusing to be a victim. Sometimes karma doesn't come with thunder. Sometimes it comes with paperwork, evidence, and one calm voice that finally says, "Enough." And if you believe in karma, if you believe the truth always finds its way to the light, then do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel because we tell the stories that remind you, you're not weak for having a heart, but you're not required to hand that heart to someone who only knows how to break it.